Hey everybody, so another beautiful day here in East Tennessee.
Sure is.
And today we decided to come in here to Jonesboro, oldest town in Tennessee, and also the storytelling capital of the world.
True that.
We've been here before, but there's a few places we didn't get to hit, and we wanted to hit those today, starting with the Steph-N-Lee Museum. So follow us. There's some of their information.
This is where we're at.
Yep, that is where we're at. I do like how they have it set up down here with the
black and white photos blown up in the windows.
Yeah, we were pretty excited to see it's open.
That's how gorgeous.
Yeah, isn't this something?
This is gorgeous.
Okay, I'll tell you, you already told me where you're from, and I'm welcoming you again to the Chester Inn, and it's a museum.
Wow.
And I'll give you a little history of Jonesboro. In the 1700s, this region belonged to North Carolina. This was part of the North Carolina territory. There was no town here, there was nothing here. Birds and deer and raccoons, lots of trees. But there were two small communities in the area. There was the Watauga community and the Nolichucky community, and you know that those are rivers. And there was a small community by each of those rivers. Those people had to go over the mountain. You know that big old mountain over there that goes into North Carolina. They had to go over that mountain to go to a courthouse, and it took them 5 days one way to get there, and then 5 days to come back. And it was an arduous, dangerous journey, so that North Carolina legislature decided it would be a good idea to found a town and build a courthouse for those people. So the man in the North Carolina legislature was instrumental in getting that to happen, was Wiley Jones. And that's why we're called Jonesboro, because the town was named after him. If you see his name in print, it looks like his name is Willie, but he pronounced it Wiley, so we say Wiley. This building was put up in 1797, which was 1 year after Tennessee became a state in 1796. William Chester came here from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He was a physician. He did not live in this building. He did not have his offices in this building, but he had his apothecary downstairs where you just came from. And that downstairs is actually the basement of the building. And it was used for his apothecary and for storage for supplies for the inn and for storage of the guest luggage.
It is really cool, isn't it?
The old gas lamps.
Yeah.
Back porch.
Okay, originally, this was the front door of the building. This is the door that the guests used. They came in to go to the parlor to register. They would come up here in horses, buggies, wagons, and
just I'll explain.
oh, and the livery for those horses and buggies and wagons was over here about where the storytelling center is now.
Early pictures, you'll see that the stairs came up on both sides of the building to this deck here.
I see.
Yeah.
That's how this became the front door.
But when they put up this building, it made it inconvenient for the people to enter here. So they started entering from Market Street that we call Main Street. They changed the name.
The parlor had a real fancy trim around these insets. But the back side that the people never saw was just plain like this. So anytime I see a door like this in an old building, I feel both sides to see if it was
Beveled instead of just cut to
Yeah.
fit. Yep.
door is fancy on both sides. And normally it would not be like that. Normally it would only be the side that faced this side, and when the door was closed, the guest could see it.
Well, whoever owned this door had a little bit of money, made it fancy on both sides.
Apparently.
Because, you know, the fancy stuff costs more money. This is the parlor, this is the room that the guests came to for socializing and entertainment. And in the 1800s, hotel rooms weren't used like we use hotel rooms now. The only reason you were in there was for dressing and sleeping. If you wanted to rest and relax without going to bed, if you wanted to read a book, write a letter, play chess, play checkers, have a conversation, you came here to this room. This room was also the social center of the town. The organizations of the town held their meetings here because it was just about the only place that was big enough and nice enough for the meetings to be held. People who worked across the street in the courthouse would come over here and use this room for rest and relaxation and maybe have a meal in the dining room. This room is just like the dining room. Everything's been replaced except for the bricks in the fireplace, and it's all decorated in the Victorian style. There were 3 presidents who were guests here: Andrew Jackson, Andrew Johnson, James K. Polk, and John Sevier, who was the first governor of Tennessee. If you turn around and look at the wall behind you, the most common question I get is, why are there holes in the wall? Well, it's nothing very exciting. It's for heating and air conditioning.
I think it's so awesome. It's ceiling.
We don't have elevators and escalators because that's not period appropriate, and we're grandfathered in because we're a state historic site. We don't have to abide by those those laws.
Of course, the handicap one.
Yeah, I can't get over the ceilings being wallpapered. The state spent a lot of money to restore this.
I think I lost Bob somewhere.
Yes, I think.
Oh my goodness, what a gorgeous room.
What did I tell you?
Wow. Mind blowing. Wow, well done.
See, and they have the beds high like I made ours.
Yes, well done.
Okay, in the beginning, in 1797, all the rooms in the inn were dormitory style, which meant several people shared the same room. They even shared beds, and if they didn't have enough beds, they made a pallet on the floor. But it was okay, because that's the way things were, and nobody thought anything of it. All the travelers were men. They were traveling for business, or they were traveling to go west. But after the time of the Civil War, tourism started becoming more popular, and ladies started traveling, and families started traveling. So the inn converted some of their dormitory rooms to ladies' rooms and family rooms. And this is what a family room would have looked like in about 1892. We have a big bed for the adults and a little bed for the children. These beds were made by hand by the man whose photo you see on the table. He lived in Abingdon, Virginia. You know where that is? Abingdon, Virginia. It's a 45-minute drive northeast of here. It's a little historic town, very similar to Jonesboro. It's a beautiful little town. If you have a chance, go and visit.
Alrighty. I love the bedclothes laid out on the bed.
Yes. This is what people wore to bed in the 1800s. The very plain night shirt was worn by the man, and the one that had the lace and the pin tucks and the buttons and all of the frills, that was worn by the lady.
And the little child's dressing
Yes,
down.
the little, and that's for the child. These beds were put on a train in Abingdon and sent to Jonesboro. One of the bed rails still has Jonesboro written on it. And they were taken off the train here and put on a wagon and sent to Leesburg, Tennessee for this man's daughter's wedding. His great-granddaughter has donated the beds to us. She's a woman about my age. She comes by every now and then and she says, "How are my beds?" And I say, "They're doing just fine. People just love them. They're so beautiful."
And typically there's the trunks that,
Yes, and people traveled with trunks. They didn't have luggage like we have. They had trunks or they had carpet bags. Jonesboro was a destination. Jonesboro was considered an elite town for several reasons. One, it started out that way because it was laid out on a grid, and it wasn't just built up hodgepodge. It was laid out on a grid, and if you wanted to buy one of those lots, they were sold by a lottery. You had to putting your name in a hat, and they pull your name out, and you can purchase the lot that you've chosen. Know what it's for?
I would assume it would be for your shoes.
No, clothes. It's for your clothes. At that time, clothes
Dress was dragging on the ground, the mud would harden on it.
Clothes were mostly made of wool, and wool is not washable. We can wash wool now because we have the process to keep it from shrinking, but at that time, you know, if you started out with a wool jacket that was this big and you washed it, it would be this big. So you didn't wash it. You would come home from your day of work or your day of shopping, and you would use that brush, or you would have your servants use the brush to brush all the dirt
And the oils from your body off of it.
That's what it was for. Do you know what this is?
That, I'm assuming, is a razor.
Yes, but what is it for?
I'm assuming for the guys to keep their sideburns and
No.
beards intact.
No, it's for cutting your hair.
That's for hair cutting.
That's for hair cutting. You know what this is?
That's your bootstrap
Yes,
tightener.
that's your button. Ladies wore high top shoes
hook
with
and eye.
hooks and eyes, and this tool was used to pull those loops over those buttons. Of course, this is obvious.
Emery.
It's a nail file. That's for your cuticles. Push your cuticles back.
Men's razor.
Man's razor.
Just
Just little manicuring scissors. Oh, this is obvious.
that's a essential part of the South.
That's a fan, of course. And do you know what this is?
That would be to sharpen your razor.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're pretty up to date on these things. Do you know what it's called? It has a specific name.
Something strap, but I can't
It's
remember.
called a strop.
Strop.
Not a
Thank
strap.
you. Yeah.
It's called a strop. Okay. Well, you're really good at this. I'm gonna hire you. Under that bed over there is a chamber pot. I want you to go and look at it. It's the fanciest chamber pot I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yes, so now chamber pots had one handle and no indent. That's how we can distinguish a chamber pot from a tureen.
From a cooking pot, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Yes, you would use that at night, and then in the morning the servants would come and empty it and wash it out. Yeah.
Put my tools on.
That is something else.
I just want them to see me wearing them.
With some of the information.
I forget what day it
There's
is.
John Sevier, 1784. He was elected the governor of the state of Franklin. And Jonesboro became the first capital. Huh. There's the Chester Inn. A lot of the old pictures in here. which are really cool. There's a Ford dealership. It was on East Main and Boone in 1938. Really cool stuff. So that was really cool, wasn't it?
It was extremely cool. What a little gem here. It's a free museum, self-guided.
Yep.
But they do have a guided tour for the antiques and the Victorian style inn that they had on the second, third floor here.
Right. Now
at the Chester.
they do take donation, and really cool.
Knowledgeable,
and
friendly volunteers.
Yes. Yeah, the folks volunteering were amazing. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. We want to thank everybody who has subscribed recently. We're way back at the beginning. Hit the little bell. That'll let you know the next time that we post video, which will probably be in another day or two. And until next time,
Have a
Steph-N-Lee day.